Hey guys, tonight we slip quietly into a world of cracked Venetian mirrors and candlelit whispers, where the chase for beauty in Renaissance Italy was nothing short of a dangerous devotion. You're not simply a spectator tonight, you're a participant, standing barefoot on cold marble, your breath fogging up the glass that reflects a face eager for perfection. The room smells of rose water and melting beeswax, the air thick with the murmur of ancient remedies. But beware, what you're about to discover might just leave you breathless, and not in the way you'd expect. You probably won't survive this. You were never meant to hear this story, but somehow, you're here. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know in the comments, where in the world are you listening from? And what time is it there? Midnight in Venice? Dawn in Florence? I love hearing from you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand before a cracked Venetian mirror, its once glittering surface now a fractured tapestry of your own reflection. Each crack seems to echo the fragile lines of your own beauty rituals. You lean closer, your fingers cold and steady, tracing the faint outline of your cheek where yesterday's lead powder has left its mark. A pale shimmer that glows beneath the flickering candlelight. You're not alone in this pursuit. In the Renaissance, every woman you know, be she noble or merchant's wife, has her own secret elixir. Some of these potions were harmless enough. Rose water to calm redness, or rosemary steeped in vinegar to refresh tired skin. But others? Well, let's just say that historians still argue whether beauty was worth the price in those days. You carefully uncork a tiny bottle of rose-infused water, its gentle scent a fleeting comfort. You splash it across your face, feeling the cool sting as the liquid seeps into every pore. The rose, they say, was the queen of the garden, a symbol of purity and allure. Even the ancient Romans bathed in rosewater to tempt the gods themselves. But tonight, your mirror reveals more than a soft glow. In the flickering light, your reflection looks almost spectral, an ethereal wraith cloaked in silks and whispers. The mirror itself, an import from Murano's secretive glassworks, has seen more than its fair share of beauty rituals. You wonder how many faces it has watched, how many women leaned close, dabbing ceruse on their cheeks or tracing kohl along their lids, all chasing the same fleeting perfection. You catch your breath as you notice a small vial on your vanity, its contents a murky concoction that shimmers like liquid moonlight. A friend swore by this elixir, an alchemist's blend of ground pearls and egg whites, promising to leave the skin luminous and smooth. The thought of pearls crushed into dust and mixed with farmyard eggs might sound more like a kitchen mishap than a beauty treatment, but such was the Renaissance's dedication to beauty at any cost. Your fingers itch to try it, to feel the cool paste on your skin and watch your reflection transform. But there's a cautionary tale here, one you've heard whispered in the shadows. A woman whose cheeks glowed like moonlight, only to find her skin blistered and burned beneath the delicate mask. Still, the promise of perfection is too strong to resist. The mirror winks back at you, each crack a secret passage to another world, one where your reflection isn't yours alone. You can almost see the ghosts of women long gone, their painted faces gazing back with a quiet warning. The lead in the powder, the mercury in the rouge, These were the hidden poisons that turned beauty into a deadly game. And yet, you lean closer still. There's a certain thrill in the danger, a heady rush that comes from knowing you're playing with forces beyond your understanding. Historians debate whether these toxic elixirs were acts of desperation or quiet rebellion, proof that a woman's beauty could be her power, even if it came at a terrible cost. You dab the elixir onto your cheekbones, the mixture cool and viscous. It smells faintly of almonds and salt, a curious blend that makes your skin tingle. You tilt your head, watching the shadows dance across your face. In this moment, you are every Renaissance woman who ever stood here, every woman who believed that beauty could be bottled and brushed onto her skin. A soft chuckle escapes your lips. This is no fairy tale. You're not a damsel waiting for rescue, but a scientist of your own making, mixing potions and testing them on your own skin. The mirror doesn't judge. It only reflects the choices you make, each one a step deeper into the alchemy of allure. You think of the women who walked these streets centuries ago, how they balanced their beauty rituals with the weight of sumptuary laws that dictated what colors they could wear, how much gold they could display. In some ways, your cracked mirror has become your shield against those rules, a private rebellion as you decide what beauty means for you. Outside, the city is hushed and still. The canals glisten beneath the moonlight, and somewhere, a gondolier hums a song that echoes through the waterlogged alleys. But in your little room, it's just you and your reflection. Two figures locked in a silent dance, each searching for that perfect face. You blink, and for a moment, you swear you see another face in the glass, a ghostly echo of all the women who came before you. They linger in the shadows, their whispers as soft as silk. They remind you that beauty is both a promise and a peril, and that even the softest rosewater can hide thorns beneath its petals. You sigh, your breath fogging up the glass. The journey has only just begun, and already you feel the weight of history pressing against your skin. But there's no turning back now. Not when the cracked mirror is your confessor, your companion, and your reminder that in the Renaissance, perfection was never just skin deep. You reach for a small glass bottle wrapped in twine, the faint scent of rosemary and thyme seeping through the cork stopper. This is your second elixir, your secret arsenal of botanical wonders, each one carefully blended to soothe, to brighten, to heal. The candlelight flickers, casting soft gold over the polished wooden vanity as you tilt the bottle back and forth, watching the herbs swirl in the oil like a forest caught in a storm. You're no stranger to these green remedies. In the Renaissance, women believed that the earth itself held the key to beauty. The tender sprig of lavender to calm the mind, the bite of mint to awaken the skin. You lift the stopper, and the fragrance envelops you, sharp and bright, as if you've just crushed a fresh leaf beneath your fingertips. You lean in, your breath shallow, and let the cool oil kiss your cheeks. Historians still argue whether these simple herbal infusions were truly effective or just another part of the elaborate dance of self-care. But in this quiet room, you're less interested in scientific debates and more in the ritual, the slow, deliberate motion of your fingers as you press the oil into your skin, the way the herbs seem to breathe life into your tired complexion. On the table beside you lies a small linen sachet filled with dried rose petals. The scent is delicate, almost shy, a far cry from the potent alchemical brews you'll discover later tonight. The rose is a symbol of virtue and secrecy, its petals soft as a sigh. You press the sachet to your lips, inhaling the fragrance, and you can almost imagine the gardens of Renaissance Florence. Walls of green, fountains murmuring in the darkness, the air heavy with the sweetness of 1,000 blossoms. In the candle's glow, your vanity table becomes a miniature apothecary. Tiny bottles of rosemary vinegar and lavender water stand shoulder to shoulder, their contents a promise of beauty and youth. A single sprig of rosemary lies beside them, its green needles prickly and fragrant. In Renaissance Italy, rosemary was a symbol of remembrance, an herb carried in wedding wreaths and tucked into love charms. Tonight, it's your companion in the quest for a skin as soft and luminous as moonlight. You drizzle a few drops of rosemary vinegar onto a scrap of linen and press it to your temple, feeling the cool bite of the liquid as it seeps into your pores. It's said that rosemary can sharpen the mind, chase away melancholy. You're not sure if it's true, but you close your eyes anyway, letting the scent fill your lungs and chase away the shadows of the night. A sudden giggle slips from your lips as you remember how rosemary was once believed to ward off evil spirits. Perhaps tonight you're more alchemist than beauty seeker, brewing potions to keep the darkness at bay. The thought tickles your ribs, and you lean back, letting the warmth of the candlelight soak into your skin. You think of the women who once shared these secrets in hushed tones, the way they'd gather in tiled courtyards and candlelit chambers, passing down recipes for creams and tonics like heirlooms. A drop of rose water here, a pinch of crushed sage there. Each remedy a small act of defiance against the relentless march of time. Your fingers drift over a tiny wooden jar filled with sweet almond oil, its surface worn smooth by years of careful handling. Almond oil was a favorite in Renaissance beauty rituals, its rich, silky texture prized for softening skin and smoothing fine lines. You warm the oil between your palms and press it into your cheeks, feeling it melt like butter beneath your touch. The scent is faint, almost nutty, and for a moment, you're transported to an orchard in bloom, the trees heavy with pale blossoms. You imagine the women of Florence, their faces luminous beneath the sun, each one carrying the scent of almonds in their hair. You smile, your lips curved in secret delight. There's something deeply comforting in this simple ritual, a reminder that beauty need not always be a poison-laced masquerade. But even as you indulge in these gentle elixirs, you can't escape the darker edge that lingers in the room. You know that not all Renaissance beauty rituals were so kind. You've heard the rumors of ceruse that turned the skin to porcelain and the soul to dust, of rouge that burned bright before it faded to ruin. And yet, tonight you choose the gentle path, letting the herbs speak for themselves in the quiet hush of the hour. The cracked mirror watches you, its surface a silent witness to your transformation. You wonder if the women who came before you felt the same thrill, the same quiet comfort as they anointed their skin with rosemary and rosewater. Historians may argue over the power of these remedies, but you know that beauty is as much about ritual as it is about result. You breathe deeply, the scent of rosemary and rose wrapping around you like a lover's embrace. Outside, the city is quiet, the canals dark as ink. You close your eyes and imagine the moonlight spilling over the water, the same silver glow that kisses your cheeks now. In this moment, you are timeless, a woman at her mirror, a priestess of the senses, each breath a prayer for beauty. A soft smile curves your lips as you lean back, the sachet of rose petals still clutched in your hand. You know that tomorrow will bring other elixirs, other dangers. But tonight, you have your rosemary and rose, your almond oil and laughter. And for a little while, that is enough. The cracked mirror holds your gaze, and you hold it right back. Two women, separated by centuries, bound by the same quiet hunger for perfection. You exhale slowly. The candles glow warm on your skin, and in that breath, you find a kind of peace. Your hand hovers over a small earthen jar, the faint tang of lead and vinegar wafting up like a ghost's sigh. This, is no gentle herbal tonic. This is Venetian ceruse, the powdery white poison that once crowned Renaissance beauty as both a crown and a curse. You swallow a nervous laugh, because yes, tonight you're about to join the ranks of women who believed that a face as pale as moonlight was worth every risk. The jar's lid is rough under your fingertips, a tactile reminder that the quest for beauty has always demanded a price. The lead in this powder can kill you slowly, but in the flickering glow of your candles, you're willing to wager that perfection is worth the gamble, at least for tonight. Historians still argue whether women fully understood the dangers they were courting with each careful dab of this fatal elixir. Some say they did, but the pull of beauty was stronger than caution. You dip your fingertips into the jar, the powder clinging to your skin like winter frost. It smells faintly of vinegar and iron, a scent that prickles your nose and makes your eyes water. You hold your breath and bring it to your face, dabbing it gently along your cheekbones and across your forehead. The powder settles like a ghostly veil, turning your skin to the smooth, cold pallor that was the very height of Renaissance elegance. You pause, studying your reflection in the cracked mirror. The effect is immediate and eerie, a face as luminous as porcelain, a mask that hides every flaw. The ceruse doesn't care about your freckles, your sun-kissed skin, or the fine lines that come from too many hours squinting at embroidery in candlelight. It erases everything, leaving only the shimmering, deadly glow that once set noble hearts racing. But there's something unsettling about this transformation. You remember the rumors, the quiet stories of women who wore this mask too long, how their skin grew raw and weeping beneath the white paste, how their teeth blackened and their hair thinned. The alchemists who sold these powders claimed they were safe, that the lead was tempered by vinegar. But you've read enough to know that even a little poison, taken long enough, can be a slow-acting death. You sigh and set the jar aside, your fingers trembling slightly as you watch the powder settle into the cracks of the mirror. This is no bedtime fairy tale, you remind yourself, with a wry smile. This is history, and history never pulls its punches. Beside the ceruse sits a smaller jar of mercury-based rouge, its crimson color as bright and tempting as fresh berries in summer. You open it cautiously, the metallic tang sharp and a little frightening. The rouge is thick and glistening, a promise of flushed cheeks and stolen kisses. You wonder, idly, how many women in Renaissance courts wore this exact color, their lips smiling sweetly even as the poison seeped into their blood. A single touch is all it takes, just a whisper of color pressed into the apples of your cheeks, a hint of life that stands in sharp contrast to the bone-white canvas of ceruse. You tilt your head, studying the effect in the flickering light. The rouge is beautiful. You can't deny that. It's the kind of beauty that demands attention, that makes you look alive even if you're slowly dying beneath the mask. You remember a story, one of those half-true, half-fantasy tales that swirl around the Renaissance like incense smoke. They say that in the court of Florence, a noblewoman used so much mercury-based rouge that she could taste metal on her tongue. She died young, they whisper, but oh, how the poets praised her beauty. You laugh softly at the absurdity of it all. You're no courtly beauty, no painted muse in a Botticelli painting. But for a moment, with the lead and mercury painting your skin, you can almost understand the pull of that bright, fleeting perfection. The mirror crackles softly as the candle's flame flickers, the glow shifting across your reflection in broken shards. You lean closer, your breath fogging the glass. You're both fascinated and horrified by the transformation, how the poisons work in tandem to create a face that glows like alabaster, how the scent of vinegar and iron clings to your skin like a promise you never made. Historians debate whether the women of the Renaissance were victims of these poisons or willing participants in a ritual that balanced beauty and death in equal measure. You think, perhaps, that it was a little of both. The powders and paints were weapons in their own way, tools to carve out a place in a world that judged a woman by the smoothness of her skin and the brightness of her smile. You take one last, lingering look at your reflection, the eerie glow of lead, the fever-bright flush of mercury, and you understand, in some small way, why they risked it. In the hush of this candlelit room, there's a strange kind of power in becoming something otherworldly, even if it's only for a few stolen hours. You set the jars aside, your hands trembling as you wipe them clean on a scrap of linen. The powders are gone, but their touch lingers in the air, a reminder that beauty in the Renaissance was a game of chance, a gamble that could end in triumph or tragedy. You lean back, the mirror's cracks catching the candlelight in jagged constellations. Outside, the night is still, the canals dark and silent, and you, sitting here with your ghostly reflection, are both queen and chemist, priestess and poisoner. The alchemy of allure has claimed you tonight, but tomorrow you might find a gentler path. The scent of burnt herbs and waxy smoke curls around you as you push open the creaking door to a perfumer's workshop. It's a cramped space, cluttered with glass alembics and copper kettles, each one shimmering with the ghostly promise of transformation. You breathe in deeply, spicy resins, pungent myrrh, and the faint tang of metal, and feel your pulse quicken at the thought of the secrets that swirl within these walls. Tonight, you're more than just an eager pupil. You're an alchemist in your own right. The perfumer greets you with a conspiratorial smile, his stained fingers deft as he lifts a small vial filled with a liquid that glows faintly in the candlelight. He calls it aqua mirabilis, a miraculous water said to smooth the skin and chase away every imperfection. You know better than to trust his promises, but you lean closer anyway, your breath stirring the tiny flecks of gold that dance within the bottle. Historians still argue whether these Renaissance potions were born of true science or sheer desperation, an echo of an era that balanced on the knife's edge between faith and fraud. But here, in this cramped workshop, the line blurs until it disappears altogether. You watch as the perfumer grinds crushed pearls into a fine dust, his mortar and pestle working in a slow, steady rhythm. He adds a spoonful of white lead, a few drops of rose oil, and a thin trickle of vinegar. The paste that forms is smooth and opalescent, a shimmering promise of beauty that masks the lurking danger beneath. You wonder, with a wry smile, how many women came here before you, each one trading a coin and a prayer for a phial of this magic. The perfumer doesn't seem to mind. His craft is part science, part spectacle, and he wields both with practiced ease. He pours the mixture into a tiny jar and hands it to you, his eyes twinkling like a man who knows he's selling both a cure and a curse. The smell of the paste is heady, sweet with rose, sharp with vinegar. You dab it onto your fingertips, feeling the way it clings like a second skin. It's cool at first, almost soothing, but beneath the softness lurks a bite that leaves your skin tingling. You study your reflection in a scrap of polished brass the perfumer offers, and you see the glow begin to build, an unnatural radiance that makes you both beautiful and, in some small way, monstrous. Careful, the perfumer murmurs, his voice soft as he watches you. Too much, and you'll burn. Too little, and you'll fade. You wonder if he means the paste, or something else entirely. Some unspoken truth about how beauty in this world is a currency that demands its own quiet taxes. The room is a jumble of scents, rosemary and beeswax, rose and lead. Your head swims with it all, and you feel a kind of fevered delight in the alchemy of it. Each vial is a promise, each jar a spell. You catch sight of a tiny bottle of mercury, the quicksilver trapped inside like a captured moonbeam. The perfumer sees your curiosity and smiles. "Not tonight," he says. "Some poisons should stay in their cages." You nod, the weight of his words sinking into your bones. Historians might argue whether these beauty rituals were acts of vanity or quiet acts of rebellion. You think it's both, an armor and a weapon, a way to craft a self that can walk the tightrope of Renaissance society without falling. You slip the jar of pearly paste into the folds of your dress and step back into the night, the workshop's door creaking shut behind you. The canals outside are silver in the moonlight, the air thick with the scent of salt and distant fires. You walk slowly, the jar cradled in your hands like a talisman, each step echoing the careful balance you must strike between desire and danger. As you return to your room, the cracked mirror greets you like an old friend, its broken edges catching the candlelight in sharp little stars. You set the jar down on the vanity, its contents glinting softly, and study your reflection once more. There's a new gleam in your eyes, a new hush to your breath. The alchemist's secret is yours now, a whispered promise of beauty and ruin, balanced on the edge of a knife. You laugh softly, your voice barely more than a sigh. There's power in these potions, you realize, but there's also peril. And tonight, you're willing to dance that line, to let the alchemy of allure carry you just a little bit further down this twisted path. You smooth the paste over your cheeks once more, your movements slow and deliberate. The coolness of the mixture soothes your skin, the scent of rosewater and vinegar a strange comfort in the hush of the room. The cracked mirror watches you, its silence deep and knowing. You wonder if the women who came before you felt the same quiet thrill, the same soft dread as they trace these elixirs across their skin. Outside, the night deepens, the canals dark and still. And here, in this flickering candlelit world, you are both the alchemist and the experiment, the seeker and the prize. The perfumer's secret is yours now, and in the hush of this hour, you let it seep into your skin, your breath, your very soul. You slip out of your room at dawn, the streets of Venice hushed and wet with dew. You're heading to the spice merchant's stall, following the sweet tang of myrrh and the musky perfume of civet that floats down the alleyway like a promise. The canals are silent, but for the occasional ripple of an early gondola, its oarsmen humming a tune you can't quite catch. Tonight's beauty ritual isn't just about the face you show the world. It's about the invisible armor that clings to your skin like a whispered secret. Fragrance, you've learned, is as much a part of allure as the powders and paints that sit on your vanity. And in the Renaissance, scent was both a pleasure and a powerful disguise. You pause at the stall, breathing deeply of the heady mix of resins and oils. The merchant grins, his teeth stained with clove as he unrolls a small bundle of muslin filled with crushed petals and ambergris. The scent hits you like a memory, warm, sweet, and just a little bit wild. Historians still argue whether these Renaissance perfumes were meant to entice, to heal, or simply to mask the rank tang of unwashed bodies in crowded palaces. You lean closer, letting the merchant sprinkle a few grains of resin into your palm. The grains catch the light, tiny golden flecks that smell of sun and sea. You crush them gently between your fingers, and the scent blooms, musky and rich, with a faint sweetness that lingers like a kiss at your wrist. The merchant leans forward, his voice a low, conspiratorial whisper. "The noblewomen favor this one," he says, nodding to a tiny vial of oil that gleams like liquid fire. A drop at the throat, and even the most jaded courtier will turn his head. You laugh softly, the idea as heady as the scent itself. You take the vial and slip it into your sleeve, the promise of stolen glances and whispered secrets warm against your skin. You wander back to your room, the streets slowly waking around you. The cracked mirror greets you like an old confidant, its broken edges shimmering as you uncork the vial and let a single drop of the perfume fall onto your pulse point. The scent spreads like silk across your skin, a heady blend of musk, jasmine, and something darker that you can't quite name. You remember reading once that civet, a base note in many Renaissance perfumes, came from the scent glands of a small, cat-like creature. A detail both fascinating and faintly unsettling, a reminder that the line between luxury and cruelty was as thin then as it is now. The perfumers of Florence and Venice prized it above all else, blending it with rose and amber to create a fragrance that clung to the skin like a lover's sigh. The cracked mirror captures your reflection, the perfume swirling in the air around you like an invisible halo. You wonder how many women of the Renaissance wore this same scent, their necks glistening with sweat beneath heavy brocade, their breath sweet with jasmine and longing. Historians debate whether these scents were armor or invitation, but you know the truth. They were both. A smile curves your lips as you dab another drop of the oil behind your ears. Outside, the city hums with the promise of a new day, but here, in the hush of your chamber, time feels suspended. You close your eyes and let the scent wrap around you, a delicate shroud that blurs the edges of the world. The cracked mirror winks back at you, and for a moment, you feel like a woman from a painting, an ideal of beauty captured in oil and pigment, a dream made real in the soft glow of dawn. You laugh softly, the sound hushed in secret. You know this scent won't last. It will fade by nightfall, swept away by the salt air of the canals and the sweat of dancing in crowded halls. But for now, it's enough. You step back, the vial still warm in your hand, and let the scent settle over you like a blessing. In the Renaissance, they believed that a woman's perfume was her signature, an invisible mark that lingered in memory long after she was gone. You like the idea of that even when the powders and paints have faded, the scent will remain, a ghostly echo of the woman you've chosen to be. You press your fingertips to your pulse, feeling the blood beat beneath your skin. The perfume is a promise, a secret, a spell. And tonight, in the flickering light of your candles and the quiet hush of dawn, you're ready to let it carry you wherever the night might lead. Before we go on, take a breath. This next part might feel surprisingly close to home. You stand at your vanity, fingers trembling as you crack the delicate eggshell in half. The yolk slips into the bowl with a soft plop, leaving behind the silken sheen of egg white. In Renaissance beauty rituals, even the humble egg had its role to play, a symbol of rebirth, of purity, of transformation. Tonight, it's your secret weapon in the quest for an otherworldly glow. You whisk the egg white until it froths like the foam of the Adriatic, pale and airy. The sound is soothing, the gentle hiss of bubbles that promise to tighten, to smooth, to turn your skin into something almost divine. Historians still argue whether these kitchen table elixirs were born of desperation or quiet genius. But as you dip your fingers into the frothy mixture, you're willing to believe in a little bit of both. The first touch of the egg white is cool against your skin, a thin film that tightens almost immediately. You smooth it over your cheeks and forehead, the faint scent of eggs and the ghost of the henhouse clinging to the air. A giggle bubbles up, because really, who would have guessed that the secret to Renaissance radiance lay in the humble eggshell? But this is no mere farmer's trick. You recall reading of how the noble women of Florence would add crushed pearls to the egg whites, or a pinch of white chalk to enhance the ghostly glow. Pearls were ground to dust, the finest of powders, so rare and precious that only the wealthiest could afford to smear them across their cheeks in the name of beauty. You tilt your head, studying your reflection in the cracked mirror. The egg white dries quickly, pulling your skin taut like the surface of a drum. You can almost imagine the effect it might have had in a candlelit ballroom, the way your skin would catch the flickering glow, each movement of your head revealing a subtle sheen of light that spoke of both wealth and mystery. But there's another layer to this ritual. In the shadows of your room, you remember the hushed gossip about chalk and lead mixed with the egg whites, a trick to make the glow last longer. Dangerous, you know, but tempting all the same. Historians debate whether women truly believed these concoctions would preserve their youth, or whether they simply clung to any promise in a world where beauty was both power and peril. Your fingers still slick with egg white, you reach for a small pot of crushed chalk. The powder is fine, soft as silk, and as you sprinkle it into the bowl, the froth takes on a pearly hue. You laugh quietly at the absurdity of it, of turning kitchen scraps into something that could rival the painted beauties of Botticelli. Yet here you are, each stroke of your fingers across your skin a tiny act of transformation. You pause to breathe in the soft scent of rose petals that linger in the air, a reminder that even the simplest of ingredients could be elevated to art. The cracked mirror winks back at you, its fractured surface catching the flicker of the candlelight like shards of moonlight. You lean closer, the egg-white mask tight on your face, and for a moment you see not just your reflection, but the echoes of every woman who ever stood here, chasing the same fleeting perfection. Outside, the city is slowly waking. You hear the distant clatter of a cart on the cobblestones, the soft murmur of water lapping against ancient walls. But here, in this still moment, the world is just you and your reflection. Two faces separated by centuries, bound by the same quiet hunger. A sudden, mischievous thought crosses your mind. Would the women of the Renaissance have traded their lead powders and mercury rouges for a simpler ritual like this? Or would they have laughed at the idea of beauty without a little bit of danger? You suspect the answer lies somewhere in the cracks of your mirror, somewhere between the egg whites and the whispered promises of the alchemists. You peel the dried egg white mask from your skin with slow, careful motions, the thin film crackling softly as it comes away. Your skin feels soft, almost new, the faint glow of candlelight caught in every pore. You smile, tracing the curve of your cheek with a fingertip. No lead, no mercury tonight, just egg whites and chalk. A small rebellion against the poisons that once claimed so many lives. The cracked mirror holds your gaze, and in its broken light, you see a different kind of beauty. One that's raw and fleeting, but yours alone. You lean back, the bowl of egg white froth still in your hands, and laugh softly. In the end, you think, that's all any of these rituals really are. A fleeting spell, a moment of magic that lets you believe, just for a while, in the power of transformation. You set the bowl aside, your fingers still faintly sticky, and let the last traces of the mask sink into your skin. Outside, the first light of dawn paints the sky a soft pink, and you whisper a quiet promise to yourself, to chase this glow, to honor these rituals, but never to lose sight of the quiet, stubborn heart that beats beneath it all. Your hands hover over a small pot of vermilion pigment, its color so vivid it almost glows in the flickering candlelight. The jar is warm from your touch, and for a moment, you marvel at the audacity of it. This bright, brazen rouge that once painted the lips and cheeks of Renaissance women with a promise of life and scandal. You remember the stories whispered in hushed tones, how a well-rouged cheek was as much a weapon as any dagger. Each stroke of color, a flirtation, a challenge, a sigh in the dark. Historians still argue whether rouge was simply a cosmetic whim or a coded language of courtship, but you suspect it was both. Tonight, you're determined to learn the language for yourself. You dip your finger into the pot, feeling the thick, creamy texture as it clings to your skin. The pigment smells faintly of beeswax and crushed roses, a heady blend that tickles your senses. You smile as you smooth it over your lips, the color blooming like the first flush of dawn. In the cracked mirror, your reflection winks back at you, lips stained a scandalous scarlet that would have turned heads in any Renaissance salon. You can almost hear the low murmur of conversation in a candlelit ballroom, the way a glance would linger, just a heartbeat too long, on a mouth painted so provocatively bright. The cheek rouge comes next, a gentle swirl of color that you blend with careful fingers. The pigment catches the light, a warm flush that speaks of late-night laughter and whispered secrets. You know it's just paint, just another layer in the elaborate ritual of beauty. But tonight, it feels like a small rebellion, a promise that even in the quiet of your room, you can be as bold as any courtesan in Florence. A giggle bubbles up as you remember the more outlandish recipes you read about. Rouge, made from crushed cochineal beetles, from madder root and wine-soaked cloth. Some claim to use fresh blood, pressed from a finger prick in the dead of night. You shiver at the thought, but a part of you is tempted by the romance of it, by the idea that beauty could be drawn from the very essence of life itself. Historians debate whether these vivid rouges were symbols of vitality or simply a desperate bid for attention in a world that often turned a blind eye to a woman's voice. But as you lean in to admire the glow on your cheeks, you suspect the answer doesn't really matter. What matters is the way it makes you feel: alive, defiant, unafraid. You remember how the sumptuary laws once tried to control these splashes of color, how noblewomen and merchants' wives alike found ways to circumvent them. You imagine a woman slipping a jar of rouge into her sleeve, her eyes bright with mischief as she prepared to steal a few stolen glances at court. The laws might have dictated what she could wear, but they couldn't touch the fire in her cheeks. You add another layer of rouge to your lips, your reflection bold and bright in the cracked mirror. The color feels like a secret you're sharing with yourself, a little flash of rebellion in a world that demanded quiet obedience. You tilt your head, tracing the curve of your lips with a fingertip, and smile at the woman who smiles back. Outside, the city hums with the first stirrings of night. Gondoliers sing soft laments to the moon, and somewhere, a woman just like you leans over her own cracked mirror, rouge pot in hand, ready to paint her lips into weapons of allure. The air in your room is warm and fragrant, thick with the perfume of crushed roses and the sweet, musky tang of your skin. You close your eyes, the color on your cheeks still bright behind your lids, and breathe in the quiet power of it all. When you open your eyes again, the cracked mirror is no longer just a reflection. It's a window into the secret world of every woman who ever dared to be beautiful. You see their laughter, their fear, their quiet triumphs painted in rouge and kohl. And you see yourself among them, a woman unafraid to paint her own story in bold, brilliant strokes. You lean back, the rouge pot still warm in your hand, and let the night settle around you. Outside, the canals whisper in the dark, and in your room, your cheeks burn bright with a color that's more than just pigment. It's a promise, a defiance, a celebration of the woman who refuses to be forgotten. Your breath hitches as you slip into the tub, the water warm and silky with the weight of scented oils and rose petals that float like drifting memories. The candlelight flickers against the stone walls, painting you in soft golds and deep shadows. You close your eyes and let yourself sink deeper, the water lapping against your skin in a slow, steady rhythm. This is no ordinary bath. In the Renaissance, perfumed baths were the ultimate luxury, a ritual that promised to cleanse not just the body, but the soul itself. You can almost hear the echo of water dripping in ancient cisterns, the hush of servants preparing the bath with the reverence of an alchemist at his still. You lean your head back, the rose petals brushing your collarbones like the lightest of touches. The scent is heady, rose and violet, a faint undercurrent of sweet almond oil that clings to your skin. Historians still argue whether these baths were purely for beauty, or if they were a way for women to slip away from the weight of expectation, if only for a little while. The water is clouded with milk and crushed herbs, an ancient recipe whispered down from mother to daughter, a secret that promises to leave your skin as smooth as silk. You run your fingers along the surface, the petals swirling around you in a delicate dance. You remember reading how Cleopatra bathed in ass's milk, how the women of Florence added ground almonds and honey to their water for a touch of sweetness, that lingered long after the bath was drained. A soft laugh escapes you as you watch a rose petal cling to your fingertips. There's something deliciously decadent about it all. This quiet hour when you can pretend the world beyond the cracked mirror doesn't exist. In the hush of the water, in the soft glow of the candles, you're both a queen and a dreamer, your skin singing with the promise of transformation. You pour a trickle of rosemary-infused oil onto your shoulder, the scent sharp and green. The oil slides across your skin like a lover's sigh, and you shiver, delighting in the way it catches the light. Outside, the canals are silent, the moon painting the water silver. In here, it's just you and the bath and the slow, hypnotic rhythm of your breath. You remember how Renaissance women believed these baths could cure everything from heartbreak to headaches. How the warmth of the water and the scent of crushed herbs could coax the sadness from your bones. You close your eyes and let the water work its magic, the soft hush of it lulling you deeper into a kind of half-sleep. Historians debate whether these baths were acts of vanity or quiet revolutions. Small, defiant moments when a woman claimed her body as her own. You think of the endless rituals that came after, the powders and paints, the perfumes and poisons, and you realize that in this warm, fragrant water, there's a gentler kind of alchemy at play. Your fingers drift over the rim of the tub, tracing the worn stone that has seen centuries of whispered secrets and soft laughter. You think of the women who sat here before you, their reflections winking back from the water's surface, each one searching for a fleeting moment of beauty and peace. A sudden image flickers in your mind of a noble woman in Florence, her skin glowing from the heat of the bath, her hair twisted into a simple braid that glistens with oil. She's not so different from you, you realize. She, too, wants to leave the world outside for just a while, to find a moment of quiet in the rush of life's demands. You shift in the water, the warmth seeping deeper into your bones. The rose petals swirl around you, and you smile softly. There's something magical about this hour, something that feels both ancient and achingly new. You lean your head back, your hair drifting like seaweed in the scented water, and close your eyes. In the cracked mirror across the room, your reflection is blurred by steam, the candlelight turning your features soft and dreamlike. You wonder if this is how the women of the Renaissance felt in their perfumed baths, like queens of a world made just for them, if only for a breath. You rise from the water slowly, the air cool against your damp skin. The scent of rose and almond clings to you like a second skin, a gentle reminder that even the simplest rituals can hold a kind of magic. You wrap a linen cloth around yourself, the fabric soft and warm, and pause for a moment to watch the water settle back into stillness. The cracked mirror catches the glow of the candle, and you catch your own tired smile, soft, secret, and just a little bit wild. You know the poisons wait for you, the powders and paints that promise beauty at a price. But tonight, in the hush of this perfumed bath, you found a gentler kind of transformation, one that asks nothing of you but to breathe, to dream, to let the water hold you. You run your fingers over the small carved chest on your vanity, each tiny drawer holding treasures from lands you've only ever dreamed of. The scent of sandalwood and bitter orange clings to the carved wood, a promise of distant markets and exotic secrets. You ease one drawer open, your breath catching at the tiny phials inside, bottles of frankincense from the East, myrrh from Africa, resins that once traveled along sun-baked caravan routes to find their place here in the hush of your candlelit chamber. In the Renaissance, these foreign imports weren't just luxury. They were the ultimate mark of status, proof that a woman could hold the wealth of the world in the palm of her hand. You lift a small phial, its glass the color of smoke, and let the scent of ambergris fill the room, warm and animal, a perfume that once graced the collars of queens. Historians still argue whether these trade goods were more for display or true beauty, but tonight they are both. A tiny dish holds powdered sandalwood, its red gold color, rich and earthy. You sprinkle a pinch into your palm and breathe deep, the scent grounding you in this quiet hour. The cracked mirror watches you, and in its broken reflection, you see the faint echo of ships creaking under silken sails, of spices and silk traded for the glint of Venetian ducats. You think of the merchant ships gliding into port under moonlight, their holds heavy with treasures. Myrrh, they said, could calm the skin and warm the heart, while sandalwood soothed and healed. You press the powder to your cheeks with a damp cloth, feeling the faint scratch of it, a soft exfoliation that leaves your skin flushed and warm. You laugh softly at the thought of these faraway goods becoming part of your nightly ritual. The merchants who sold them spoke of miracles, of oils that could banish wrinkles, of resins that would make your skin glow like moonlight on water. It's half a lie, but the scent, the touch, the ritual, it's enough to make you believe for a moment. Your fingers drift to a small pot of musk, dark and heavy, the scent a heady blend of mystery and memory. You dab it at your throat, your wrists, the hollow behind your ears. The cracked mirror shows you a woman transformed, her skin warm with the scent of foreign lands, her eyes bright with a secret only she knows. Historians debate whether these rituals were truly about beauty or about power. The power to hold a piece of the world close, to turn your chamber into a palace of scent and memory. You think of the women who wore these same perfumes, their skirts trailing across cold marble floors, their laughter bright in candlelit salons. They knew the power of these scents, and tonight, so do you. The candles burn low, their wicks bending under the weight of wax. The air in your room is thick with the perfume of trade, of myrrh and sandalwood, of ambergris and musk. You let it seep into your skin, a quiet act of worship to the mystery of the world outside your window. You think of the ships that carried these goods, of the men who risked storms and pirates, of the merchants who haggled in crowded markets. You smile softly, your fingers still dusted with sandalwood, and wonder how many lives are held in the scent that clings to your skin. It's a humbling thought, and a thrilling one. This small, secret connection to a world so much bigger than your quiet room. You close the chest with a soft click, the scent of the spices lingering in the air. The cracked mirror winks back at you, the candlelight catching on the thin lines of age and wear. You trace a finger across the glass, feeling the cool bite of the crack beneath your skin. You wonder how many women before you have watched themselves transform in that fractured reflection, their beauty mingled with the scent of faraway lands. Outside, the canals sigh in the darkness, the water heavy with the scent of salt and riverweed. But here, in the hush of your chamber, you are both queen and dreamer, your skin anointed with the riches of the world. You smile, breathing deep, and let the scent of the night carry you into the soft, forgiving dark. You settle back onto the worn cushion of your vanity stool, your skin warm from the gentle scrubs and scented balms. You lean in close to the cracked mirror, studying the glow that clings to your face like the memory of moonlight. But as the night deepens and the candle wax pools around flickering wicks, you begin to notice something else. A pattern, a hierarchy, written in the very powders and perfumes you've carefully layered on your skin. In Renaissance Italy, beauty wasn't just personal, it was political. The alchemy of your vanity was also the language of rank, each scented drop and shimmering powder a quiet declaration of your place in the world. Historians still argue whether these rituals were true rebellion or simply submission to society's iron rule. But in the hush of your chamber, you feel both the weight and the power of this silent code. You reach for a tiny bottle of imported rose oil, the scent so delicate it almost disappears the moment it touches your skin. This was the perfume of queens you remember reading, reserved for those whose dowries could buy entire palaces. In Florence, a merchant's wife might dare to dab a hint of rose at her throat, a whispered challenge to the sumptuary laws that dictated who could wear what and when. You smile faintly at the thought, how something as fleeting as scent could defy a law written in ink and sealed with a nobleman's ring. You dab the rose oil on your pulse points, your breath hitching at the way it blooms in the candlelit air. Each drop is an act of quiet resistance, a gentle rebellion in a world that measured women in silk and gold. You remember the rules, the deep reds of velvet and the rich greens of silk forbidden to those without noble blood, the bright lapis pigments of paint and the weight of pearls declared the privilege of rank. But beauty elixirs? Those slip through the cracks. You could paint your cheeks in rouge as bright as a cardinal's cloak, your lips as red as a rose plucked from the Medici gardens, and no one, no law, could take that power from you. Your reflection winks back at you, your cheeks flushed with egg white and chalk, your lips warm with the glow of cochineal rouge. You think of the women who balance these rules like tightrope walkers, their beauty a performance that shifted with every turn of the court's fickle eye. Historians debate whether these women were complicit in a system that caged them, or if they wielded their beauty as a weapon, carving out spaces of freedom in a world that rarely offered it. You lean in closer, your breath clouding the cracked mirror, and decide it was probably both. Tonight, you choose to believe that beauty can be both a cage and a key. You remember reading of a noblewoman in Venice who wore nothing but the finest French powders, her skin so pale it seemed to glow in the moonlight. The law said she should keep to muted wools and simple braids, but she defied it with every brushstroke of her vanity. Her beauty was her defiance, her rebellion, her quiet, unspoken triumph. You laugh softly at the thought, how even the quiet act of dabbing rose oil on your wrist becomes a small victory when the world wants to tell you how to glow and who to be. You press your fingers to your pulse, feeling the warmth of your blood beneath the scent of roses, and smile at the secret you share with every woman who ever dared to wear what was forbidden. The cracked mirror holds your reflection, bright and brazen in some ways, soft and defiant in others. Outside, the night hums with the promise of dawn, but you linger in this hour, your beauty a kind of prayer whispered in the language of powder and scent. You close your eyes and let the weight of history settle around you, the soft glow of your vanity a gentle shield against the world beyond your window. In the quiet of this moment, you understand that beauty in the Renaissance was never just about color or scent. It was a dance of power, a secret language spoken in the hush of candlelit rooms and the soft shimmer of crushed pearls. You lean back, the scent of rose oil sweet on your skin, and let the candlelight hold you like a promise. Tomorrow, the rules will still stand, the laws still waiting to hem you in. But tonight, you have your powders, your perfumes, your cracked mirror that reflects not just your face, but your quiet, unyielding heart. And in this flickering light, that is enough. You wake with the faint sting of yesterday's beauty still clinging to your skin. The lead powder and mercury rouge, a ghostly memory in the early morning light. The cracked mirror winks at you from across the room, each fracture catching the dawn's soft glow like a spider web of silver threads. You rise slowly, the weight of the night's elixirs still heavy on your breath. There's a different kind of glow this morning, a pale, almost spectral light that makes your skin look both luminous and frail. Historians still argue whether the women of the Renaissance truly understood the price of that ethereal glow. Some say they were naive. Others believe they were deliberate, alchemists of their own fate. You wonder which of these stories is true, but as you press your fingers to your cheeks, the fine powder still clinging there, you suspect it's a little of both. You move closer to the cracked mirror, studying the way your skin seems to glow from within. The lead-based ceruse you used last night has left its mark, a shimmering paleness that whispers of moonlight and danger in equal measure. You remember how the poets praised this deadly beauty, how sonnets spoke of skin like milk, of cheeks like snow, of lips red as blood. They didn't write about the slow rot beneath the perfection, the way the poison crept under the skin to eat away at the living flesh. You laugh softly, the sound echoing in the still room. It's a laugh born of knowledge and defiance, a laugh that says you see the game for what it is and still choose to play. You think of the noble women of Florence and Venice, their faces painted into perfection, their veins slowly filling with poison. You wonder if they ever woke as you do, feeling the ghost of the lead powder on their skin, weighing the cost of beauty against the soft thrill of that pale glow. You reach for a cloth and begin to wipe away the powder, each stroke of the linen a gentle act of reclamation. The scent of rosewater rises from the cloth, a comforting balm that soothes the sting of the poison. You can almost feel your skin sigh in relief as the lead gives way to the simple, soft touch of rose. Yet even as you wash it away, you can't deny the allure of that deadly glow. There's something almost holy in the way the ceruse catches the light, something that makes you understand why women risk everything for that fleeting perfection. You lean in close, your breath warm against the cracked mirror, and whisper a quiet confession. You understand it because you feel it too. You remember the story of a Venetian courtesan who wore the ceruse like armor, her skin so pale it glowed in the moonlight. She knew the powder would kill her, but she wore it anyway. Each night, another act of defiance. Each morning, another chance to wash away the poison and begin again. Historians debate whether she was a victim of fashion or a quiet revolutionary, but you know the truth. She was both. You smile at your reflection, the last traces of the lead powder lingering in the fine lines around your eyes. Outside, the canals are waking, the water dark and restless beneath the dawn sky. You wonder How many women once stood where you stand now, their faces pale and perfect in the cracked mirrors of history? You take a final swipe with the rosewater-soaked cloth, the last of the powder disappearing into the soft folds of linen. Your skin is warm and clean now, flushed with the gentle glow of real life, not the cold perfection of lead. You breathe deeply, the scent of rose and salt filling your lungs, and let the moment settle around you like a second skin. The cracked mirror catches your gaze, and in its fractured light, you see a woman who knows the price of beauty and chooses to pay it anyway. You see a woman who understands that perfection is a fleeting thing, a mask worn only for a night, and that the real glow comes not from lead or mercury, but from the quiet strength that refuses to fade. You set the cloth aside, your fingers lingering on the edge of the mirror, and smile softly at the woman who looks back at you. Outside, the gondoliers sing to the morning, their voices low and sweet, and in your room, the candle's last glow flickers and dies. But in this soft light, in this quiet hour, you are both the alchemist and the experiment, the seeker and the found. And as you stand there, bathed in the faint glow of dawn, you know that even the deadliest glow can't hide the heartbeat beneath the skin. Your fingers brush against a small wooden box, its brass clasp worn smooth by centuries of secret exchanges. Inside lie vials and phials of curious liquids, some you recognize, some that remain mysteries even to you. The faint scent of camphor and myrrh greets you as you lift the lid, mingling with the soft hush of the early morning air. This is the world of traveling peddlers and Renaissance snake oil, where promises swirl like incense smoke, and each drop of liquid is a chance at wonder or ruin. You think of the market squares you've wandered through, the cries of hawkers echoing off the marble walls, each one offering a cure for what ails you. A phial of youth, one calls, his voice rich with practiced charm. A draught of beauty, promises another, his fingers dancing over bottles of green and gold. Historians still argue whether these traveling salesmen were charlatans or misunderstood alchemists. You suspect they were both. You pull out a tiny bottle of rose-colored oil, the glass cool and slick beneath your fingers. The peddler who sold it to you claimed it was made from the tears of Venus herself, a concoction that could erase the lines of time and leave your skin as smooth as river stones. You smile wryly at the memory, at how easily you were tempted by the honeyed words, the gleam of the glass catching the sun. The scent of the oil is sweet and heady, a blend of rose and something faintly medicinal that makes your nose wrinkle. You dab a drop onto your wrist, the liquid sinking into your skin with a warmth that feels almost magical. You lean close to the cracked mirror, your breath fogging the glass, and watch as the oil catches the light, a soft shimmer that whispers of secrets and silent wishes. A soft laugh bubbles from your lips. You know better than to believe in miracles, but there's something irresistible about the ritual, the slow, deliberate way you smooth the oil into your skin, the way the scent curls around you like a promise. You remember reading how these traveling peddlers would weave their sales pitch with tales of faraway lands and ancient wisdom. A drop of this oil, they'd say, and you'd be as fair as Helen of Troy. A spoonful of that tonic, and your heart would beat like a maiden's once more. The cracked mirror winks back at you, and for a moment, you can almost believe in the magic. But you know the truth. Some of these elixirs hold more than just dreams. You've heard the rumors of potions laced with opium to lull the senses, of mercury-based concoctions that promised to banish blemishes even as they seeped poison into the blood. You remember the story of a noblewoman in Milan who trusted too deeply in a traveling peddler's promise. How her skin glowed like marble for a season, only to grow raw and fevered in the cold light of winter. Historians debate whether these snake oil sellers were simply part of the Renaissance's grand pageant of beauty, or if they were dangerous illusions, mirrors reflecting what every woman longed for but could never truly possess. You wonder if it even matters. In the hush of your chamber, with the soft perfume of the oil curling around you, you know that the power of belief is its own kind of magic. You close your eyes, letting the scent of rose and mystery settle into your skin. Outside, the city stirs to life. The gondolier's songs low and sweet against the slap of water against stone. In your room, the only sound is the soft crackle of the last candle's flame and the quiet beat of your heart. You open your eyes and reach for another vial, a tiny glass bottle filled with a dark, glistening liquid. The label is gone, the scent sharp and earthy, like rain on dry soil. The peddler said it was an ancient remedy from the East, a secret passed down through the generations, meant to bring back the flush of youth to even the most careworn skin. You hesitate, the weight of the bottle heavy in your palm, before tipping a single drop onto your fingertips. The liquid is cold as it touches your skin, a shiver that races up your arm and settles in your chest. You smooth it over your cheek, the cracked mirror catching the faint shimmer it leaves behind. It's beautiful. You can't deny that. A faint glow that softens the shadows beneath your eyes, that makes you look for a moment like a woman from a painting, her skin touched by moonlight and secrets. But you know that beauty has never been as simple as a bottle of oil or a phial of scented liquid. You remember the countless rituals you've already tried, the lead-based ceruse that turned your skin to porcelain, the mercury rouge that left your lips red as stolen fruit, the gentle rose water that tried to soothe the poison away. Each one a step in a dance that has no end, a quiet balancing act between desire and danger. You close the wooden box, the faint click of the brass clasp, a soft punctuation mark in the quiet room. You set it aside and rest your palms on the vanity, the cracked mirror reflecting a woman who knows the price of each of these secrets. A woman who has danced with poisons and perfumes, who has learned that the line between a cure and a curse is thin as a silken thread. You smile at your reflection, a small, secret smile that belongs to no one but you. Historians might debate the intentions of these traveling peddlers, might argue whether their elixirs were acts of mercy or exploitation. But you understand that in this world of flickering candlelight and soft whispers, beauty has always been a kind of alchemy, a way to turn the weight of longing into something that glows, if only for a night. You lean back, the scent of rose oil and mystery clinging to your skin like a second breath. Outside, the morning light grows stronger, the city coming alive with the promise of another day. But here, in this quiet hour, you are both the seeker and the spell, the alchemist and the dream. You close your eyes and let the moment linger, a soft sigh in the hush of dawn. Still with me? Good. This is where the story begins to shift. The cracked mirror watches you with quiet patience as you gather your final tools. Tiny phials of oil and copper spoons, bits of beeswax and scraps of lavender tied in twine. There's a hush in the room, a weight of history that settles in your breath as you prepare your next ritual. This isn't a powder or a paint you bought from a merchant. This is something older, something born from the hearth and the hush of a whispered secret. You set the copper spoon in the flickering candle flame, watching as it warms and glows a soft orange. Tonight, you're chasing the hush between science and superstition, where the line blurs and even the most learned humanist scholar can't decide what's real and what's imagined. Historians still argue whether these household concoctions were truly medicinal, or if they were witchcraft dressed in rose petals and rosemary. You find the truth somewhere in between. You crush the dried lavender with a mortar and pestle, the fragrance rising in soft sighs that make the candle waver. The cracked mirror shows your fingers stained with purple dust, your face bathed in the gentle glow of a woman on the brink of discovery. You add a drop of sweet almond oil to the spoon, the warmth releasing a scent so comforting it's almost a lullaby. You remember the stories of women who made these brews in secret, the whispered names of those who walked the line between healer and heretic. A drop of this, a pinch of that, a prayer murmured beneath your breath. They said that beauty could be conjured like a spell if you just knew the right words to whisper over your brew. You smile, a soft, knowing curve of your lips, as you lean closer to the spoon. You let the warmth melt the beeswax into a liquid pool. The scent of honey and lavender thicken the air. This is no merchant's promise, no alchemist's gold. This is your own ritual, your own quiet rebellion in the flickering shadows of the Renaissance night. You dip your finger into the warm, fragrant mixture and smooth it over your temples. The wax catches in the fine lines there, softening them with each gentle stroke. You close your eyes, breathing in the scent of honey and herbs, and for a moment, you feel like a woman outside of time, a soul who knows that beauty isn't something sold in a crowded marketplace, but something you coax from the earth itself. The cracked mirror catches your reflection, and in that fractured light, you see every woman who has ever stood here before you. Herbs in her hand, secrets on her lips, hope in her heart. Historians debate whether these home-brewed potions were acts of desperation or quiet acts of defiance. You think they were both, tiny spells of resilience against a world that measured a woman's worth in the paleness of her skin and the softness of her hair. You run the last of the lavender balm along your jawline, the waxy sheen catching the candlelight in soft golds. Outside, the city is a hush of water and wind, the canals dark and secretive beneath the silver moon. You let the scent wrap around you like a shawl, your breath soft and slow as you lean back in your chair. A smile curves your lips as you think of the women who carried these secrets in their aprons and their hearts, how they turned kitchens into apothecaries, how they found power in the quiet alchemy of crushed herbs and heated spoons. You wonder if they felt the same gentle thrill, the same quiet pride that hums in your blood as you watch the balm glow in the flickering light. You remember reading about a woman in Florence, known only by the name of La Bella, who was rumored to have an entire arsenal of secret brews hidden behind the tapestries of her bedroom. Some whispered she was a witch, others a saint. She never told her secrets, but the glow of her skin and the perfume of her hair spoke for her. You wonder what she would have thought of your quiet ritual tonight. You dab the last of the balm across your collarbones, the warm wax sinking into your skin with a sigh. The cracked mirror shows you a woman transformed, not by powders or poisons, but by the gentle strength of her own hands. The hush of lavender, the honey-sweet scent of beeswax, these are your allies tonight, small comforts in a world that demands so much more. Historians still debate whether these homemade balms were beauty rituals or prayers in disguise. You decide they're both. As you blow out the last candle and let the darkness settle around you, you press your fingertips to your lips and whisper a quiet blessing, an echo of the prayers once murmured in kitchens and workshops across the Renaissance. The cracked mirror fades into shadow, its fractured light now a memory of warmth and flickering gold. And you, in the hush of your room, are both alchemist and dreamer, seeker and found. The city outside hums with secrets and sighs, but here, in this quiet hour, you found your own small magic. A balm of lavender and beeswax, a promise whispered into the night. You slip quietly through a candlelit corridor, the air thick with the mingled scent of frankincense and musk. The laughter of masked courtiers echoes in the distance, the clink of goblets and the whisper of silks, a soft counterpoint to the steady beat of your heart. Your reflection flickers in polished brass sconces and darkened windows, a moving tapestry of red lips and pale cheeks, a testament to the quiet power of beauty in the Renaissance. You're not alone in this game. Each glance that passes over you tonight is a test, a delicate dance of power and perception. Historians still argue whether beauty was merely a woman's adornment or her shield and sword in the endless intrigues of courtly life. As you catch sight of your reflection in a small Venetian mirror propped on a console table, you suspect the truth lies somewhere in the tension between the two. Your fingers drift to the small phial of scent hidden in your sleeve, a drop of ambergris at your throat, a veil of rose oil that clings to your skin like a soft, invisible armor. In the flickering candlelight, each breath you take is a silent promise, a challenge to those who dare meet your eyes. The cracked mirror back in your chamber may have shown you your own secret power, but here, beneath the vaulted ceilings of the ducal palace, that power becomes currency. You pass a group of ladies in brocade and pearls, their cheeks glowing with the same lead-based ceruse that still clings to your skin like a second soul. Their laughter is bright and brittle, each fan flick and sidelong glance a move in this endless game of chess. You wonder how many of them woke this morning with the same quiet doubt you felt, the same trembling in their fingertips as they pressed rouge to their lips. The music swells in the distance, a soft dance of lutes and viols that tugs at the hem of your thoughts. You remember how these courtly gatherings were both sanctuary and battleground, places where a woman's beauty could open doors and seal fates, where a single, well-timed smile could shift the balance of power in a heartbeat. You feel it now, that delicate thrill as you tilt your head and catch the eye of a passing courtier. Historians debate whether these banquets and masked balls were truly about celebration or about politics played out in the flickering light of 100 candles. You suspect they were both. Each brush of a sleeve, each stolen glance, a subtle maneuver in the grand game of influence. And you're learning to play it too, one breathless moment at a time. A soft laugh slips from your lips as you watch a pair of noblewomen trade glances like dueling swords. Their rouge is as bright as blood, their eyes shimmering with secrets they'll never speak aloud. You wonder if they know how much power rests in the tilt of a chin, the glow of a cheekbone brushed with powder and dreams. The cracked mirror back in your chamber may have shown you the cost of that glow, but tonight you see its currency in every raised eyebrow and measured smile. You catch your own reflection in a gilt-edged mirror and pause, tracing the faint shimmer of ceruse at your temple. It's dangerous, you know. Each breath of lead and mercury, a slow, invisible death. But tonight, you wear it like a badge of survival, a reminder that beauty in this world is both a privilege and a peril. You lean against a carved pillar, the cool stone grounding you in the rush of silks and secrets. Outside, the canals are silent, the moonlight painting the water in soft, shifting silver. Inside, the music curls around you like a promise, the candlelight turning your skin to warm gold. You close your eyes for a moment, breathing in the perfume of rose and amber, and let yourself be carried by the rhythm of the night. Historians still argue whether these courtly games were a prison or a playground for women who knew how to wield the weapons of beauty. You decide it's both, and tonight you're determined to dance the line between them with quiet grace and a secret smile. You push away from the pillar and join the swirl of masked dancers, your skirts catching the faint breeze of a passing courtesan's perfume. You laugh softly, the sound lost in the music and the hush of the room, and feel the weight of your beauty like a silken cloak around your shoulders. The cracked mirror waits for you back in your chamber, ready to greet you with the truth beneath the powders and perfumes. But tonight, in the candlelight and music, you let yourself be the woman in the mirror's reflection. The woman who knows that beauty is a currency that spends as quickly as it earns. And in this quiet, secret hour, with the scent of musk and rose clinging to your skin and the music echoing in your bones, you decide that for tonight, that's enough. You slip out of the crowded hall as the last notes of the viol fade into the hush of the night. The air outside is cool and soft, the canals whispering beneath the silver glow of the moon. You lean against the cold marble balustrade, your pulse still quick from the heat of the ballroom and the quiet tension of every glance exchanged. The perfume of rose and amber lingers on your skin, a ghost of the night's dance. You smile as you remember the laughter and the music, the subtle tilt of a head that said everything and nothing at once. But even in that swirl of silk and candlelight, there was something else, a current of whispers that flowed as easily as the wine. Gossip, you realize, is the truest currency of beauty in the Renaissance. You hear it now, soft voices drifting on the night air, like the faintest echo of the music you left behind. Whispers of a woman whose rouge was mixed with crushed cochineal beetles, of another who swore by a paste of pearl dust and honey that left her skin as pale as the moon. Historians still argue whether these secrets were the quiet confessions of desperate hearts or the calculated weapons of women who knew the power of every painted smile. You lean closer to the cool stone, listening to the hush of the city and the sigh of the water. You remember how, in every court and every candlelit salon, these secrets passed from hand to hand like a clandestine note. A recipe for a perfect complexion, a trick for brightening tired eyes. Each one a small rebellion, a soft defiance of the world's demands. You smile at the memory of an older woman who once showed you how to make a rinse of rosemary and vinegar, her voice low as she shared the secret passed down from her mother and her mother's mother. You remember the pride in her eyes as she spoke, the quiet thrill of a knowledge too precious for any sumptuary law to touch. The cracked mirror back in your chamber waits to show you the price of these whispered secrets. But tonight, you let yourself be carried by their promise. You run your fingers along the marble balustrade, the cold stone grounding you in the hush of the night. The scent of rose still clings to your skin, a soft echo of the laughter that fills the hall behind you. A giggle slips from your lips as you think of the more outlandish rumors, of women who slept with slices of raw meat pressed to their cheeks, of those who rinsed their hair in rainwater collected under a full moon. Some of it is nonsense, you know, but some of it is the soft, secret alchemy of survival. Historians debate whether these whispers were the desperation of women trapped in a gilded cage, or the quiet triumph of those who found power in a world that offered them so few choices. You think of the way the lead powder turned your skin to pearl, of the way the rouge caught the candlelight in a flash of red, and you decide that the truth lies somewhere in the laughter that lingers even after the music has died. You press your fingertips to your lips, the faint taste of rose water still sweet on your tongue. The cracked mirror showed you the price of this beauty, the slow, quiet toll it takes. But the whispers you hear tonight remind you that it's also a bond, a language shared in soft voices and careful glances, a secret that only grows richer the more it is spoken. You slip back into the hall, the hush of the night still clinging to your skin. The music has started again, a gentle prelude to another dance, another round of careful glances and half-true smiles. You feel the weight of the secrets you carry in the small phial of rose oil tucked into your sleeve, in the faint glow of ceruse still clinging to your cheeks. The cracked mirror will wait for you, but for now, you let yourself glide through the candlelight, your laughter soft as the silk that trails behind you. You think of the women who shared these secrets in the hush of night, their whispers a kind of music all their own. And in the flickering glow of 1,000 candles, you let yourself be part of that quiet song, each word a note, each glance a chord in the music of survival. You slip away from the laughter and music, the soft glow of candlelight fading behind you as you climb the narrow stairs to the upper galleries. The marble steps are cool beneath your feet, the air here quieter, still perfumed faintly with rose and beeswax from the revel below. You pause for a moment at the top, your breath a little unsteady as you peer into the flickering shadows. Here, away from the press of courtiers and the hush of whispered scandal, you find yourself among the tapestries and painted panels that line the gallery walls. The images shimmer in the glow of a single lantern, scenes of saints and sinners, of myths half remembered and half invented. But tonight, it's the smaller portraits that draw your eye, those tiny panels where a woman's gaze meets yours across the centuries. You step closer to one of them, the cracked varnish a soft glow in the lantern light. Her skin is pale as milk, her lips a gentle rose, her eyes bright with the knowledge of secrets she'll never share. Historians still argue whether these portraits were mere vanity or an attempt to capture the soul of a woman in a single, quiet moment. You decide that tonight they are a testament to survival, each delicate brushstroke a reminder that beauty can be both a promise and a question. You smile faintly as you trace the line of her jaw with your eyes, imagining how the artist might have worked, how he might have whispered to her of color and light, of the way a single stroke of red could turn a mortal woman into something almost divine. You wonder if she, too, knew the taste of lead on her lips, the slow poison that turned her skin to moonlight and her smile to a mystery. You lean closer, your breath stirring the faint dust that clings to the air. In the hush of the gallery, you can almost hear the quiet debate that still echoes in the halls of history. Whether these portraits were meant to preserve the truth of a woman's face or to hide it behind the soft glow of ceruse and the blush of rouge. You think of your own reflection in the cracked mirror, the way the light caught the shimmer of lead on your skin, and you know the answer is both. A soft laugh slips from your lips as you think of the scholars who pore over these paintings, searching for answers in the tilt of a chin or the glint of a jeweled hairpin. They debate whether beauty was a sign of virtue or a quiet rebellion, whether a painted cheek could speak a language that no man would ever fully understand. You smile, your fingertips brushing the cool edge of the painted panel, and decide that beauty in the Renaissance was always both, a sigh of power and a breath of defiance. You let your gaze drift along the rows of portraits, each one a fragment of a story half told. A woman with a pearl-studded veil, her eyes bright with laughter. Another with a single rose tucked behind her ear, her lips curved in a smile that's equal parts mischief and mystery. Each face a quiet testament to the power of a woman who knew the cost of beauty and chose to pay it anyway. You remember the stories of those who challenged the idea of beauty itself, of humanist scholars who argued that true beauty came not from lead powders or pearl-studded hairpins, but from the soul within. Historians debate whether these men were champions of truth or simply blind to the quiet power of a painted face. You think of the woman in the portrait before you, her lips stained red as the dawn, and you suspect the truth lies in the space between their words. The cracked mirror waits for you in your chamber, ready to reflect the flicker of these quiet debates across your own skin. But tonight, in the hush of this gallery, you let yourself stand in the soft glow of history's whispers. You lean back, your breath slow and even, and smile at the woman in the portrait who smiles back. Outside, the night deepens, the canals dark and secret beneath the moon's silver gaze. Here, in the hush of these painted faces, you find a kind of peace, an understanding that beauty in the Renaissance was never simple, never safe, but always a language worth speaking. You turn away from the portrait and slip back into the shadows, the soft rustle of your skirts, the only sound in the quiet corridor. The cracked mirror will wait for you, but for now, you walk in the soft glow of these painted faces, each one a reminder that the stories we tell in the language of beauty are as fleeting and eternal as the moonlight on the water. I wonder, has any part of this story reminded you of someone you know? You make your way back to your chamber as dawn's first light begins to seep through the shutters, a pale, gentle glow that softens the edges of the world. The cracked mirror greets you as an old friend, its fractured surface a patchwork of the night's memories, of laughter and whispers, of the quiet hush of painted faces that watched you from the gallery walls. You smile softly at your reflection, your skin still faintly scented with rose and amber, your cheeks touched with the faint glow of last night's rouge. You pause for a moment, your fingers tracing the edge of the mirror's crack. You think of all the women who once stood where you stand now, of the noble women who painted their cheeks with crushed pearls, of the merchants' wives who learned the secrets of rosewater and vinegar from whispered conversations in the market. Historians still argue whether these rituals were acts of submission or quiet rebellions, but you've decided that there's something else entirely. Small acts of survival in a world that demanded perfection at any cost. You breathe deeply, the scent of lavender and beeswax still clinging to your skin, and let the memories of the night settle into your bones. You remember the way the candlelight flickered against your painted lips, the hush of laughter that followed you down marble corridors, the glances that lingered a moment too long, and beneath it all, the quiet pulse of your own breath, steady and certain in the hush of dawn. You smile as you recall the rumors and secrets traded in the soft shadows of the ballroom, of elixirs promised to banish every flaw, of potions whispered to awaken the glow of youth in tired eyes. Some of those secrets you tried yourself, feeling the sting of vinegar and the sweet burn of lead powders, the gentle caress of rose oil and the sharp bite of rouge. Each one a promise, each one a gamble, each one a quiet testament to the power of wanting. You sit at the vanity, the cracked mirror winking back at you in the soft light. Your fingers brush over the small phials and jars, the lingering scent of last night's perfumes, a quiet echo in the dawn air. You think of how many times you stood here before, each ritual a small prayer whispered into the darkness, a prayer for beauty, for power, for a moment of peace in a world that never stopped watching. Historians debate whether the women of the Renaissance truly believed in the magic of these rituals, or if they simply needed something, anything, to believe in. You think of the quiet strength in your own fingertips, the way your breath steadied as you pressed the lead powder to your cheeks, and you know the truth is simpler than that. Beauty, in the Renaissance, and in every quiet hour since, was both a shield and a torch, a way to carve out a place in a world that measured you by the light of your reflection. You remember the courtesans who wore their beauty like armor, the merchants' daughters who learned to brew their own elixirs in secret, the scholars who argued that true beauty was of the soul alone, each one a part of the quiet chorus that hums beneath the flicker of your candle, each one a reminder that survival too is an art. You lean forward, your breath fogging the mirror's cracked surface, and whisper a soft promise to the woman who looks back, that you'll keep these secrets, these rituals, alive in your own quiet way, that you'll carry them with you like the hush of a song, part memory, part dream, all yours. The dawn light grows stronger, the hush of the city shifting as gondoliers begin their slow, rhythmic songs on the water. You let the cracked mirror fade into the soft glow of the morning, its fractured light a reminder of all the women who came before you, of their laughter, their quiet defiance, their gentle, unyielding hunger for beauty. You rise from the vanity, your steps soft and certain on the worn stone floor. Outside, the city is waking, and you move with it, your skin still warm from last night's perfumes, your breath sweet with the memory of rose and amber. And in that quiet moment, you understand that beauty is never just about the powders and elixirs, the lead and the rose water. It's about the small, stubborn pulse of your own heart beneath it all, the soft promise that even the most fragile glow can be its own kind of triumph. You sit back at the vanity, the last light of dawn slipping through the cracks in the shutters, casting soft bars of gold across your skin. The cracked mirror holds your gaze, the faint shimmer of your reflection, a quiet testament to all the beauty rituals that have come before, and to the quiet truth that lingers after the powders and perfumes have faded. Your fingers drift over the small phials on the vanity, each one a tiny promise of transformation. Rose water to soothe, ceruse to pale, rouge to flush. You know each one intimately now, their scents and textures as familiar as the pulse of your own breath. And though you felt the sting of lead and the bite of vinegar, you also know the gentle comfort of lavender balms and the warmth of sweet almond oil. Historians still argue whether these rituals were acts of vanity or something more, a quiet rebellion, a prayer wrapped in rose petals and painted lips. But you've come to understand that they were both. In the hush of these candlelit hours, in the flicker of the cracked mirror's fractured light, beauty was a language all its own, a language that spoke of longing and laughter, of secrets whispered and shared in the quiet hush of night. You lean closer to the mirror, your breath soft against the glass, and watch the last traces of last night's paint fade into the glow of morning. Your skin is warm, still touched by the faint scent of rose, a memory that clings like a soft echo. Outside, the city is waking. The murmur of gondolas, the hush of footsteps on stone. But here, in this quiet room, time seems to pause. The hush of dawn, holding you in a gentle embrace. You think of the women who came before you, how they stood here too, their fingers stained with rouge and pearl dust, their hearts beating with the same soft hunger for beauty. You wonder how many of them woke at dawn to find their skin washed clean, their reflection a little older, a little wiser, but still carrying the quiet triumph of survival. You press your palms to the edge of the vanity, the cracked mirror winking back at you with each slow breath. You smile at the woman who looks back, a woman who has learned that beauty is both a mask and a mirror, both a cage and a key. A woman who knows that even the most dangerous glow can be tempered by the warmth of her own breath, the soft pulse of her own heart. Historians debate whether these rituals were born of fear or hope, whether they were the desperate prayers of a world that measured women by the smoothness of their skin or the brightness of their eyes. But you know the truth is softer than that, quieter and more stubborn. Beauty, in the Renaissance, and in every dawn that has come since, is an act of hope, a promise that even in a world of cracked mirrors and fleeting light, there is still something worth painting your cheeks for. You laugh softly, your breath a warm mist on the glass, and lean back in your chair. The cracked mirror watches you, its fractured light soft and forgiving. You close your eyes, the scent of rose and honey and beeswax still clinging to your skin, and let the quiet of the dawn settle into your bones. Outside, the canals are gilded with the first light of morning, and the hush of the city is a promise of another day. You rise from the vanity, your steps slow and certain, and let the cracked mirror fade into the soft glow of dawn. The powders and paints will wait for you tonight, the rituals and secrets ready to be whispered once more. But for now, in the hush of this new day, you carry the quiet triumph of every woman who has ever stood here, tracing the line between survival and surrender in the glow of a single candle. You close the shutters against the light, the scent of rosewater and lavender still soft on your skin, and let the hush of the room settle around you. And in that final quiet breath, you understand that the true alchemy of beauty is not in the powders or the paints, but in the soft, unyielding glow that rises from within. The dawn has arrived, soft and gentle, and your breath slows with each passing moment. The cracked mirror fades into the hush of the morning, its fractured light now a memory of whispered secrets and soft laughter. You sit still, the faint scent of rose and lavender, a lullaby that clings to your skin. Let your shoulders drop, your breath ease into a slower rhythm. The city outside hums with quiet promise, but here, in the soft glow of dawn, there is only you, quiet calm and at rest. The last traces of powder and perfume melt into the warmth of your skin, and you let them go like a breath you've held too long. Feel your eyes grow heavy, the soft beat of your heart, a gentle cadence that soothes the last whispers of the night's alchemy. You are no longer the seeker of perfect skin, the alchemist of fleeting beauty. Here, in this tender hour, you are simply you, whole, warm, and at peace. Outside, the gondoliers' songs drift like dreams across the water, the hush of their voices a final benediction to the night. You close your eyes and let their music become your own, a soft lullaby that eases the weight of the world from your shoulders. The cracked mirror holds no more secrets now. It rests as you do, quiet and untroubled. Breathe deeply, the last hint of rosewater on your lips, and let the hush of the room cradle you. The dawn has come, the night's whispers stilled. Let sleep find you in this quiet hour, your breath soft and even, your dreams gentle and forgiving. So, tonight's story ends here, but the lesson, that stays with you.